Well, hello and Merry Christmas. I'm going to be doing a little bit of playing around today with a toy that someone I know got me on the basis of what do you get for the man who has everything. I've actually got a couple of these, and they're great fun, although I've never used them for the purpose which they were originally intended. What it's supposed to be is for holding your delicate electronics in place while you solder them together. As you can see here, there's a little soldering iron holder, which will be excellent because I don't actually own one of those. It's quite nice to have that integrated. And a little magnifying glass that has a little built-in spotlight. But most importantly, these little bulldog clips here, which, well, they're called not bulldog clips, crocodile clips. And the thing that I've realised is the most useful thing that I can put this to work is actually, if I clip my phone in here, I'll be able to stick it up high and you'll actually be able to watch one of my workshop videos without me jiggling the camera all over the place as I try and operate it one-handed. So what I'm just going to do is rearrange a little bit now, and thanks to the magic of video, next time you see this, it will be from an above perspective. So 3, 2, 1... So, here we are now, looking down on creation, and what we're going to look at today is something that I've been working on really for the best part of a year. And what it started out was, I wanted to mould this product quite some time ago, but it's a big mould. As you can see, this is a 2-litre Coca-Cola bottle that I got here, or actually I think it might be a water bottle. And if you look, you can see the different striations here. And that's because whenever I wanted to make up one of these little molds like this, what I would do is that once I was finished making up the mold, I would take the leftover jug that I'd been mixing up the mold in, and I'd tip it out to dribble down into this. So you can see there's a blue layer, there's a whitish layer, there's a blue layer, there's a lighter blue layer, there's a different layer. There's actually about 4 different tanks of mold making material. The mold based material, the silicone, comes in tanks of about 5 litres, and it's quite expensive. And this is 2 litres. This is a lot of material. I did not want to waste this because this is a side project. This is not something that I can actually see money being made out of anytime soon. So I wasn't about to throw away enough material to make several dozen, I mean maybe like 20, maybe about 10 molds for things that I would actually be making money out of on making what was essentially a curiosity project. What's in the middle of this is actually a lamb bone. We had dinner. Yep, we ate the meat. So every bit of the animal's getting used. We had this lamb bone, and if you've ever seen the film Hellboy 2, the guards at the court of the Elven King, if you haven't seen Hellboy 2, please go and see it. It's a wonderful movie. Guillermo del Toro really hitting his stride with the the fantasy elements. Of course, if you haven't seen Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth, you need to see that as well. But what it is Guillermo del Toro does fairy folk right. Fairy folk, I love the Lord of the Rings, but honestly, elves aren't scary enough. Elves should be terrifying and otherworldly, and Guillermo del Toro absolutely nails that. I mean, good casting has a big part of it as well, but he absolutely nails that. And there is a scene where an elf prince slaughters his father's personal guards. But the guards in question are armed with these wonderful orc scimitar-like things, which have a bone handle. And now that's actually a little bit silly, for reasons that I will explain in a minute, but basically has to do with the anatomy of how bones are put together. Doesn't that just look absolutely fabulous? I love that to bits. That just looks smashing. What I started doing at the end of the project was I suddenly realised that this silicone's actually, unlike some of the other... something very disappointing happened about halfway through recording that last video. The camera stopped recording, I don't know why, I've got memory. But in any case, I now have the bone out. And I said I was going to talk about anatomy very quickly. I'm going to talk about it quicker now because possibly the video is going to stop recording at any moment, I don't know which. This is not one bone. This is actually two bones. This bone here and this bone here. And when you de-meat the bone, they will actually split into two pieces. So I've glued them back together with araldite and then put them in a mould, because this way, when I fill the mould up with plaster or resin, it'll all be one piece. It will also not stink to high heaven of meat, because this stunk for ages when doing it. And I had a lengthy vignette about the best way to properly treat bone, but unfortunately the video crapped out, and I don't want to risk that happening a second time. It's pain enough doing it the first time. You missed the exciting sight of me swearing, stooping over and grunting as I ripped this out of this. I was saying before, an open mould isn't particularly interesting, but when I fill it up with plaster and pull a bone out, and I'll have a magical new bone come out of this plaster mould, it will be exciting then, and that's what we'll go on to in part 3, assuming I manage to get part 3. So, press stop. And here we are, it's about an hour later, and Plaster of Paris it's such fun stuff. And it sets so quickly, which is really nice. It won't actually cure for about 2 days. It'll take 2 days to actually come out and be properly set. So this is still quite possible to damage this, and it might just splinter apart into a million pieces when I take it out of the mould, but hopefully not. Although maybe yes, because I've got to do a bit of levering to get this to come out. There we go. Oh, and just, isn't that the most Fred Flintstone thing you ever saw? That is, I'm very happy with that. That's fantastic. And if you imagine, very simply, is we will mount some form of blade onto that. I don't know. At this point, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I'm just really happy I've now got the ability to churn out these bones. Yeah, still, it smells a little gamey, but I can live with that. That is just proper brain your enemies with what do you call it? 2001 A Space Odyssey, the bit right at the start where apes are beating each other up with big bones. That's just great. I'm incredibly happy with that. And that's my video for today.